Everyone. So the plan is to discuss the questions initially, all the questions that you have sent to the group. And then if there's any more time, we'll do a short session of meditation. So before starting today's discussion, let us focus on the great qualities of Buddha Dhamma Sangha, great qualities of Arahant, Samma Sambuddho, and so on, which actually creates the pathway which is the salvation from the worldly matters, which is the salvation from samsara, which is the salvation from suffering. Focus on the rare opportunity that we got in this Buddha Sasana. True Buddha Sasana is very hard to come by, and in this human life, we have become fortunate to listen to that Dhamma, at least understand that Dhamma, at least the initial bit, and progress in that pathway, following Dhamma, which is the ultimate solution to end the suffering. So during this whole samsaric journey, we might have had many associations with previous Buddha Sasanas and also this Buddha Sasana. Focus on all the alobha, dosa, moha things that we might have done, all the meritorious things that we might have done in this life and in previous lives. Develop the pasada citta, the delighted mindset, while focusing on the meritorious power that we have gathered throughout this samsaric journey. All that meritorious power may agglomerate together, creating the favorable environment to practice Arya Dhamma in everyone, being able to focus, being able to understand, and being able to develop the panya, which is the ultimate goal, eliminating the darkness of avijja. Accept this by reciting sadhu 3 times.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
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 Now let us focus on all the unwholesome things we might have done, especially since we have been associating with Buddha Sasana. We were not fully free from defilements, so we might have done unwholesome things towards Buddha Sasana, even from a word, even from a thought, even from a small action. So let us take this opportunity to see our faults as faults, because today our understanding is deeper and we realize that the things we might have done in the past are not good things. Understanding our faults and promising ourselves not to do those kind of things again is actually the real forgiveness in Buddha Sasana. It's not about repentance, it's not about regretting, it's about understanding our faults and moving forward, becoming a better version of ourselves. So let's take this opportunity to seek forgiveness for all the unwholesome things that we have done throughout this samsaric journey towards Buddha Sasana, towards all the sentient beings. And let us promise ourselves not to engage in those unwholesome acts again by reciting sadhu 3 times.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, now there was a question, and it's actually a good question because it's practical. So I read the question. In my past experience, while contemplating anicca, there was a moment when my body seemed to disappear, and I experienced a kind of happiness I had never felt before. Since then, my practice has not been exactly the same as that moment, but it has been different from before. My body feels subtler, and it seems to be naturally released, although it is difficult for me to describe this precisely. My question is this. My mind seems to continually remember that state and naturally return into it. My practice does not seem to be worsening, but also do not notice any significant progress. I continue to reflect and meditate in accordance with the Dhamma I have learned. Yesterday, during meditation, the thought suddenly arose in my mind, wondering whether this state means I am on the right path of practice. And I wanted to ask for your guidance. So that was the question. The first question, actually. So we'll try to understand this question. According to the experience, of course, this is not a rare experience. This is very common among practitioners, especially people who meditate. So the usual presentation is they start contemplating on Dhamma. They recite Kammatthana, or they casually focus on Anicca Dukkha Anatta while closing eyes, and they go into deeper meditative state. And this is, of course, followed by, you don't feel the body, and the body becomes lighter, and initially it becomes lighter, and then you don't even feel the entity called body. It's just pure samadhi, deep and pure samadhi. So, and after this experience, what happens? Those individuals directly get attached to that experience, because that experience is something you have never experienced before in this karma world, because rupa experiences are more blissful than karma experiences. We have three types of experiences we can have. One is karma experiences, then we can have rupa experiences, and then arupa experiences. Arupa would be next level, but rupa is also next levels when we compare it with the worldly pleasures. So one who has never experienced rupa, or I would say rupa raga, in its glory, would actually get attached as soon as it was felt. That's actually because of avijja and the immature nature of the panya indriya at the beginning. So due to that person would definitely get attached to that state, and that itself will break the state, and then that person would never be able to get into, not never, but he or she would have a period where it is impossible to get back into that state. Now, that is normal. That is the common presentation of most of the individuals who have a powerful samadhi indriya, but not so powerful, but it's like medium level. And if the samadhi indriya is weak, then that kind of individuals might not have this kind of experience, but the development would be gradual. When you have a medium kind of medium strength in the samadhi indriya, that kind of a person would have this kind of experience. So the thing is, we have to go back to the basics and try to find a solution. So first we need to understand, why do we need samadhi? What are we doing every week by reciting Kammatthana? What is the purpose of it? What is the goal of it? And how does it actually help our Arya pathway? That is what we need to understand. So the Arya pathway can be simply described in three words: Sila, Samadhi, Panya. But Panya comes first. So Panya, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. So that is everything in a nutshell. So everything starts with Panya. Listening to Dhamma through a Kalyana Mitta is how we all start our journey. unless you are a Supreme Buddha or a Pacceka Buddha. So when we start there by listening to Dhamma from a Kalyana Mitta, then we develop a level of sila which will not get broken, a level of samadhi which will not get broken, a level of panya which also would not get samadhi, a panya which will not get broken. So we have completed the first step when we have developed that first panya level. Panya, sila, samadhi, panya, the first panya level. Then the sila would lead to samadhi, and samadhi would lead to panya, and this process would continue until we reach the next, I would say, milestone. Then again, sila, panya, sila, samadhi, panya. So the person becomes sakadagami, and this pattern continues until arihathood. So the thing is that the sila is like, I would say, it's like, I'll take a comparison here. We'll take a bowl of water or a container full of water. Now this water, now we boil this water. We put it on a stove or a cooker, and then we start heating the container. Now after some time, it'll get into the boiling point where the water molecules have a lot of energy and it's moving very fast. Now we can physically see the movement of the movement of the water surface and all the water. It shows a dancing kind of motion. The water is now dancing at the boiling point. So what is the so how do we compare it with sila? So sila is like when the person is having low virtuousness, or when the sila level is less. So the nirukti, pada nirukti for sila is sisil ulaya. Sisil means cool down. Laya means heart, or in other words, it refers to the mind. So mind is actually powering up the actions, thoughts, actions, and the words. So when one's mind is more heated up, it's like boiling water. It has a lot of energy, and it is agitated. That agitated mindset is actually creating a lot of, I would say, chaos. So that leads to 10 akusala or 10 unwholesome actions. That is why those kind of people with low virtuousness, low sila, would engage in lying, slandering, and maybe hurting others, stealing, all those 10 unwholesome actions, 10 akusala. But when somebody understands Dhamma, this Dhamma itself is a cooling agent which reduces the heat. When the heat is reduced, the water surface starts to, it stops the dancing motion, and it starts to settle down. And the energy of the water molecules get lesser, and the vibrations of water molecules start to reduce. Now we call it sisilulaya, a mind which is cooled down. So that is exactly what happens when sila develops. So one's mind becomes more calmer, and our mind becomes that water container which is of cooled nature. The movement reduces, and the water surface becomes still, and there's now we can see what is under the water. We can see the bottom of the container. So that is what samadhi is. When our mind is not agitated, when our mind is more relaxed, that leads to environment or a background which actually has a lot of clarity, and that is our need of samadhi in this sasana. In Buddha sasana, the samadhi is to develop that clarity, because then we will be able to see the depth. We will be able to see what is under, at the bottom of the container. So that is our end goal. That is our aim. Our samadhi is to develop panya. And now we are also understood in a way how it develops. It's sila. So how is sila broken? It is broken due to raga dosa moha, or in other words, if I specifically say it, it's lobha dosa moha. So attachments, that is raga, conflict, that is dosa, and then ignorance, that is moha, would actually harm the sila, or the cool down nature of the mind, and it will then destroy or reduce the effect of samadhi. So that's what happens. So now we'll use this fresh knowledge or fresh understanding practically to the situation that we faced in this question. So in this question, what happened was, purely focusing on anicca dukkha anatta developed into a, it helped to get into a state of deep samadhi, but then developed attachment. So this happens because the feeling is so blissful. Definitely, if the mind is not, if the mind had a immature level of panya, it need a very high level of panya to, or a level of contemplation to get out of that kind of a mindset. Otherwise, they'll definitely get attached. And this attachment, and everybody goes through this phase. The only thing is, after some time, they realize it, they contemplate, and get out of that attaching mindset, and try to reflect on the real purpose of samadhi, real purpose of why we are trying to develop samadhi. And we are also focusing on the end goal, which is nibbana, and how everything is connected to nibbana, and then drop that attachment. So that needs a lot of contemplation, vipassana. So that kind of vipassana would get us out of attachment, this attachment. Unless this attachment is overcome, it's agitated mindset. See, our kind of our heart or our mind it's boiling because of attachment, and then that clarity would never occur, not, at least not to that extent, unless we get out of it. So we only have to see causes and effects. If we want to solve a problem, we just focus on causes and effects. We saw samadhi, the result samadhi has causes. And what are the causes that gives rise to samadhi? Elimination of raga, dosa, moha. At least a temporary elimination would lead to samadhi, because it reduces the, it cools down the mind. So what do? We focus on Buddha Guna, we focus on anicca dukkha anatta, we focus on metta. All of them actually reduce raga, reduce dosa, reduce moha. So when it is even temporarily reduced, we go into a state of samadhi. So causes, what are the causes? Focusing on anicca is the cause. Result is samadhi. That's what happened in the initial days, actually. That is how a deep samadhi was created in the beginning. But after some time, what happened? I mean, not after some time, but with this experience, what happened? There came avijja paccaya sankara instead of kusala mula paccaya sankara. So avijja paccaya sankara is seeing that worldly things are valuable. So we saw we saw value in a worldly thing. What was that worldly thing? Priti, sukha, or jhana. Jhana is a worldly thing. If we get attached to it, it becomes anarya jhana, not arya, because there's attachment. And we'll definitely, have bhava and jati if we have attachment, because the processing is done with avijja. Avijja paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana. So everything is, it becomes something that we, or we can say, if we get out of the RA practice as soon as that happens. But we should be mindful, we should have our focus, and we should detect this and correct it. And it takes a lot of practice to find out these bugs, or I would say errors in practice, and correct them. It needs a lot of experience, as well as a lot of focus and detection and panya. Everything is needed. A lot of contemplation. So that is what we need. So here, when we get attachment, so I would tell you a very practical method to find out whether there's a problem in your practice in meditation. When you have closed your eyes, do you feel uneasy? Do you feel some kind of uneasiness? Then there's a problem. In meditation, you should never feel uneasy. Even if it is about to stop the meditation, even if it is about, oh, I am still not in the correct state, I am still in the beginning, everything is uneasiness. And this uneasiness never starts with panya. And without panya, we will not be able to deepen our the samadhi would not get deepened, panya would not become, it will not become powerful. So what do? We close our eyes and we observe our mind. And then we'll understand, okay, my mind is uneasy. It is latched on to something, a past memory, which I experienced before, which is a big blissful experience, but it's again worldly. It's not Nibbana. It's of course something that I encountered while I practice the end goal, which is Nibbana. So it is in the pathway to Nibbana, but it is not Nibbana. So attaching to that itself breaks our purpose. So understand. So that and I am attached to this past memory, and it is what creates this uneasiness in my mind. So we focus and we understand that. Okay, what actually creates samadhi? The samadhi is created by the pure thinking, or kusala mula pacca sankhara. Focusing on anicca is, so it is what I should do. I don't care whether I develop a deep samadhi or not. I just need an environment or a background to develop panya. And that clarity which samadhi gives is actually helpful. But we have to know that is also due to causes and effects. And we follow the causes, we'll get the effect. And we will know, focusing on attachment or attaching the result itself will break the causes, thus breaking the effect. And it will become a vicious cycle, and we will not be able to get into that state again. Again, that state is not just because that state is blissful, that because we want that state because it is the background, a very favorable background to practice vipassana. So I would give you another analogy. It's like, let's say somebody is walking on a rope, like in a circus. So there's this rope attached to two, it is at a very high altitude, attached from somewhere to somewhere. Now this circus person is trying to cross it by walking on the rope from one end to the other end. Now he's doing it in a very nice place, which has a beautiful scenery of mountains and waterfalls and various things that are very eye-catching. So he's going to do this circus in that kind of an area. Now what does he do? He's very careful. He's very mindful of what he's doing. Otherwise, he'll break his neck and he'll die because he'll fall from that rope. And then this person starts walking from one end. There's a balancing thing in his hand and he's gradually walking to the middle. And after walking into the middle, Now he sees, oh, this area is very beautiful. It has a lot of waterfalls. It has a lot of mountains. And the vegetation and the scenery, I have never seen something like that. It feels otherworldly. So these things start popping up in his mind and he loses the balance. Why? He's not being mindful. He's not creating the causes actually which saves his life. So balance is a result of causes. So he should focus on those causes, otherwise he'll fall. Now that is what is happening exactly at the moment. So he's watching the scenery, he's watching the beautiful mountains, waterfalls and everything, and this person falls down. So the same thing happens with meditation. So we have to focus on creating the causes. We don't have any time to enjoy the scenery. Because scenery itself is not our goal. Our goal is to get to the other end of the rope. So we start working on the rope. Gradually we get into the middle and we'll see, okay, now the scenery is very beautiful. I have Savitakkan, Savicharam, Vivekajam, Priti Sukham, Patamajjanam, and it's very blissful. But focusing on this bliss is not my goal. I am just talking to a person who is having a good samadhi indriya, because if it is a weak samadhi indriya, this answer would be different. I have to emphasize that. So when somebody is having a medium to high level of samadhi indriya, they will definitely have those qualities, savitakka, savichara, priti, sukha, ekagrata, without forcing. They'll happen naturally. They will occur naturally. So we don't have to focus on them to develop the savitakka, savichara, priti, sukha, ekagrata. We just focus on the causes. Just like this circus person is focusing on the balance, focusing on where he steps, focusing on his body movements, because that is what is keeping his life, that is keeping him alive. Now he's going to the other end. After you go to the other end, your purpose is done. Don't need to worry after that. So here, use that technique and try to understand, use this analogy and try to understand that attaching to the result itself would be counterproductive, because we are not creating the causes we are actually not creating the causes which creates the effect, which was the samadhi in this case. So use this vipassana, because vipassana is what leads to samadhi. And I'll combine the answer to the second question here. I'll read the second question as well in a while, and I'll combine the first question to the second question, and I'll give a combined answer. So here, our focus should be not samadhi, but panya. We have to get that correct, and it takes a lot of, our mind needs a lot of convincing, because we have experienced that blissful state, and we are still attached. We saw it once, but we want it every day. So that is what is happening with avijja. We saw something good, and it is not something just, it is not just something, it is Brahma, blissfulness of Brahma experiences. So it is otherworldly. So when somebody experiences that kind of laukika pleasure, it is natural to get attached. That's why I told this is very common. I have heard many stories like this among the practitioners. But the problem is, if we get attached to this, it will be we'll start stagnating in our pathway, because samadhi is not developing. We are going into the same restless mode, and we are going into the same kind of thoughts that are of dosa nature, not quite dosa, but it's kind of restless mindset, and that will not give us the most powerful samadhi. And the other thing is, even if the mind is getting ready to go into that deeper state, we'll try, as soon as that start happening, our mind would start recognizing it and drop all the causes which creates that effect, and get attached to, oh, it's coming. I thought I will never be able to experience it, but it's happening. that itself will break the thing. So how do we tackle this? Contemplate on the attachment and see the valueless nature, see the essenceless nature, see the anicca dukkha anatta nature, and see how we are suffering due to meditation. Suffering is due to attachment. If there is no attachment, there will be no suffering. But if one is suffering due to meditation, mentally or physical thing could be overcome. But the mental thing, then we have to understand, okay, somewhere I have done something wrong. I am attached to something. That is why it is creating a suffering element. Otherwise, if there was no attachment, if there's no cause, what is the cause of suffering? Attachment. If we eliminate the cause, the effect also goes away. So we will not experience that suffering nature or restless nature during the meditation or even after the meditation. And we will not be frustrated with meditation because our end goal is different. I don't want any of this. I just want the end goal. So I'll give another analogy. This is Aladdin and the lamp. You know the story of Aladdin and the magic lamp, right? So the magic lamp is on an altar at the middle of the cave, and this is a cave full of treasures. But there's a staircase to get into the middle of the cave, and it is on an altar, and the sunlight is coming, and you can very clearly see the the lamp of the magic lamp, the lamp of Aladdin could be very clearly seen. It's in the middle of the cave, and you enter the cave and you see the lamp. Lamp is Nibbana. Entering the cave is understanding the truth. But there's a pathway. There's a staircase. We have to go up the stairs to our end goal. But the thing is, there are a lot of treasures in between you and the lamp. So what happens if we decide to be greedy and get attached to, or if we decide to touch any of the treasures? There are gold coins, there are gems, there are other valuable things, in between you and the lamp. And if we decide to touch them, if we decide to put some coins in our pockets, maybe the gold coins, while you are on the pathway, or while you are going, while progressing in your journey to get the oil lamp, to get the Aladdin's lamp, will become late. And in this example, what happens? It's a trap to save the oil, the Aladdin's lamp. So as soon as we touch the treasures, the cave would start crumbling down upon us, and we will not be able to get to the end goal, which is getting the lamp here, the magic lamp. So take this analogy. We should not get attached to things that we experience on the way to our end goal, because our end goal is the most precious outcome that we want. So that is why we need contemplation. That is why we need anicca dukkha anatta. That is why we need Dhamma Vijaya, Virya, Priti a lot in the initial phase. Later it becomes lesser and lesser and lesser because they turn into emotions rather than words. Dhamma Vijaya. That is why it goes from Savitakka and Savichara to Avitakka and Avichara in the second jhana as well, because they turn into emotions. Rather than words, you will be using emotions in your contemplation. So that is the thing. If now, I think you are clear about what to do next. And I think it is actually a very good question, since many might experience these states if they have a medium to powerful samadhi indriya, and many would get into experience this state or experience this problem. at one point in their lives. Focusing it correctly and trying to get out of it by focusing on Dhamma is actually the key here. So when we have done it, we will not be anticipating. I mean, when we have done the contemplation and when we have matured that contemplation into a applicable level, we'll be practicing Dhamma. We will be meditating, but we will not be anticipating anything of jhana nature, because our end goal is different. Now, think about it. The end goal is to achieve that state. But the end goal should be to achieve Nibbana, to achieve less suffering. That is a very good way of thinking about it. You can't just drop the word Nibbana and think, okay, I am doing this meditation to reduce the suffering, not to increase it. Because the world is suffering. The end goal is elimination of all the sufferings. But eliminating a little bit of suffering would actually help us to get there. So we should change our perspective in our meditation. Why am I meditating? I am meditating to reduce the suffering, not to increase it. So that would be a very good way to think. So that is the answer. I think my answer to the first question is enough. Otherwise, if there's any follow-up questions, feel free to present those questions to this forum so we can move on with those. We can upgrade the answer to those questions. As I said, I'll combine the second question. I'll combine the answer to the second question here. I'll read the question first. I have one more question. I had thought that Anuloma Khanti and Sammattaniyama have the same meaning. I understood them as the state in which the mind is completely concentrated on anicca, dukkha, anatta. I consider this to be a state of wisdom that arises when Anuloma Khanti occurs. However, in yesterday's explanation, Venerable said that the state in which the mind is completely concentrated on anicca, dukkha, anatta is Anuloma Khanti state, and as a result, the mind directed toward Nibbana arises as the Sammattaniyama state. According to the Venerable, the wisdom of the Anuloma Khanti deepens according to the Sammattaniyama state, and that the mind of wisdom occurs in this sequence. Is my understanding correct? I would say yes. That is what we discussed on that day. So I would say something. I would give you another analogy here. So somebody is doing a job, right? And in this job, you have to work for 30 days, and at the end, you will be paid for what you did. So we can use that analogy to understand Anuloma Khanti and Sammattaniyama. What is working for 30 days? We are getting a salary at the end because we are doing a job. So we have to work 30 days. So working for 30 days is like Viriya Sampojjhanga, Dhamma Vijaya Sampojjhanga, and Priti Sampojjhanga. Because we are doing something, we need effort. We are creating it. We are working towards it. It's like working for 30 days. And what is Pasadi Samadhi Upekka? That is the payment that we get at the end, their salary. So if we do a lot of work, and if we do overtime and create a lot of if we work for many hours, then we'll get a better salary. And as we progress in this pathway, in our job, we'll get promotions, we'll be more skillful, so we will take only less time to achieve to get to an achievement maybe previously which took many hours. So let's say we start we become a cook. So now we work for 30 days as a cook. We cook various types of dishes in a restaurant, and this is our job. And at the end of 30 days, they give us a salary. So initially, we are very new to the job. We don't know how to cook properly. and it takes a lot of time. Let's say they hire new people who don't have experience. So we are now getting experience, and we are getting the work or the level of experience is actually increasing. So that is increasing of vipassana. So when the level of vipassana is increasing, what happens? We'll get to more Anuloma Sammattaniyama. That means we'll paid more. Now we are experienced cook who can cook many things with less time. And we are now experienced, so they gave a promotion as well. Now we started with a basic salary. Now our salary is very high because we are experienced and we know what we are doing. And our vipassana, or in this state, our cooking skills are so high, the food is so delicious. So that's what happens with practicing Dhamma. When we start practicing Dhamma, it is initially, it's like we are just a new cook to the business. So we are a new practitioner who is trying to get the bearing. So we try to with anicca, dukkha, anatta, and gradually we get a hold of it, and our practice becomes more deeper, and we see more and more Dhamma points in our meditation. And this is actually getting experience, getting exposed to experience. This is actually called Chintamaya Panya in technical terms. So we are developing that. When we develop that Chintamaya Panya, at one level, we are actually getting promotions even though we don't know it, and we can get into that emotional state, which let's say anicca gets onto us to a feeling, dukkha gets us to a feeling, get us into a feeling, anatta gets us into a feeling. So initially it took maybe 10 minutes to 20 minutes of contemplation to get into that state, but now maybe it could be done in 2 minutes because we are skillful now. This is all about developing emotions. So when we have developed that emotion, we can convert or can channel that energy towards the feeling of letting go and focus on that feeling and be in that feeling. That is our payment. That is our salary. So what do? We create a lot of thoughts. Initially, it's of savitakka savichara nature, but later it becomes avitakka avichara nature, which are full of emotions. So with emotions, we can think endlessly because words are actually a limiting medium. It limits our ability to contemplate because we are using words. But later, we don't need words. Emotions become so powerful, we would be able to think with emotions, especially in jhanas. So thinking with emotions actually would be the next level, because in sutta it says avitakka avichara samadhi is more blissful than savitakka savichara samadhi, because the contemplation is more powerful and ability to see more blissfulness is more powerful. So that is the thing. So what do? We first focus on anicca dukkha anatta. We don't force it, right? If we try to force cooking, if it takes 30 minutes for the rice to cook, we can't get it in 15 because that's the nature of the rice. So we should not get attached to an end result and try to achieve it, developing restlessness. We should just support with we should put enough water. We should put enough water. We should put enough fire when we are cooking rice, and we should let it cook gradually. And when it is gradually cooked, we'll get the correct state, and then we can get the rice out of the stove. But we can't make it. We can't prepare rice in a hurry because it has its own pace. So your indriya, saddha, virya, sati, samadhi, panya, has its own pace. So what do? We just create the environment and let it cook, and it will be cooked later. So here, that is what we are going to do. We are going to practice anicca dukkha anatta. If you use words, don't try to force it to emotions. Use words. It will come naturally. Emotions, when the emotions are so powerful, you will feel the burden of thinking with words. So it will naturally happen. So then you will be using emotions to think. But it should not be forceful. It should happen naturally when you are in that state. So you use words initially and you start thinking anicca dukkha anatta and everything, and you don't need any result out of this. End result is ending suffering. So to end suffering, you are actually creating Dhammayuja Virya Priti. Now when you are creating Dhammayuja Virya Priti, of course, you will feel how much burdensome this world is, how much suffering this world is. Now seeing that itself, that energy is what we are channeling to the other side, which is Sammattaniyama. What if I could get out of that kind of a suffering experience, suffering world? What if I could, if I could detach from that experience? What if I could let go? What if I could detach? What if I could find the salvation? So that is the Sammattaniyama. Focus on the Sammattaniyama, and you will be able to stay in that Sammattaniyama state. And that is actually the payment. So I would say, when somebody becomes Arihat, you are contemplating initially. Let's say Arihat Magga. So that's a job. Let's say it's a job. So you work for 30 days, and at the end, you get the salary, which is the end result, which is Nibbana. So Nibbana is never achieved through Samadhi. I mean, Arihathood is never achieved through Samadhi. It is achieved through Vipassana. When you are doing the Vipassana, the defilement starts breaking, and the final defilement of Mana Uddacha Vidya would get broken, and one would get the end result, or the salary here in this example, which is Arihatship. So to achieve that, what we do not force anything. We just create causes in a very, very relaxed mindset. Relaxation is very important. We don't have any expectations, because expectation is a problem. We know what this needs to be created, so we start creating. It's like we can cook rice with the expectation of getting a cooked meal of rice in 2 minutes, 10 minutes, let's say 10 minutes. But that expectation only would create suffering, because we can't cook rice in 10 minutes. So what do? We want that end result. So we create causes. Don't need it. Even though we expect or not, it will happen if the causes are aligned. So let's align the causes. And at the end, we will be able to find the end result. So that is some Anuloma Khanti and Sammattaniyama. So focus on the Anuloma Khanti first. Focus on, if you are using words, of course, focus with words and see, very relaxed, very natural. And it's not forced. And focus on this and think, all of this is to end the suffering. And my contemplation actually opens my eyes to things of suffering, which I didn't even realize before. Oh, I was doing this and it was of suffering nature and I didn't realize. So you are actually in the correct pathway when you are doing it. So you understood that. And when you are contemplating without much expectation, of course, the Kusala Mula is working. And now Pasadi Samadhi Upeka starts to arise. Because there's now even though we work, even though we get the salary at the end of 30 days, even if we decide to get, leave the job in 15 days, we have gathered some money. So likewise, we'll start to feel the money getting accumulated on the other end when we start focusing on Dhammayuja Virya Priti. But we should not think about that initially and let it get into a matured state. And when it is matured, we understood the maturity through experience. We need to focus. We need to practice more and more and get the experience. And then we'll know, okay, this is a matured state of passaddhi samadhi upekka. And if I continue going, if I continue working, if I continue creating some Dhammayuja Viriya Priti without stopping, my mind sharpness would go away and I feel exhausted. So now it is time to reap the results, reap the cultivation, or reap the fruits of my, efforts. So we start focusing on passaddhi samadhi upekka and keep focused until, and you should not get attached, because attachment itself is the problem. We just stay in that state, because letting go is not about attachment, it's about letting go of attachment. So we are focusing, okay, letting go of attachments is so blissful. And we are not attaching to that blissfulness as well, because it is again a burden. Now we are in that state, and gradually it can go down initially, but that's what happens in the initial practice. After you start focusing on this state, some passaddhi samadhi upekka, the strength or the intensity of passaddhi samadhi upekka would reduce fast. It will go down. And then we should know, okay, now it's time to go back to work again. Dhammayuja Viriya Priti should be started. And back and forth. And then when you understood how to practice Sattva Bhujanga in the correct way, I don't have to even tell anybody after that. You will find your own rhythm and own techniques, and you will be able to practice on your own. This is just the help that we can give in the beginning of the to a beginner or a practitioner who is starting fresh. So that is the answer for the second question. So I think that would be enough for the two questions. Is it clear? Do you understood what we discussed, or is there any follow-up questions?
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
I understood to a certain extent.
Okay, listen to it again.
Yeah.
And if you have any follow-up questions, don't please feel free to send them to the group, or you can just tell the question to the group. Either one is fine. So then I think it took almost 1 hour to discuss these two questions, and I think it's very important to understand these questions, the answers to these questions, because these are practical things that happens when you start practicing meditation. Okay, now then we'll focus on our meditation practice. We have 1 hour. So find a place which doesn't create a lot of noise. And a place where there is less movement and less chaos. Keep your back straight. You can be in either posture. You can be in the seated posture or the meditation posture. Either one is fine. But keep your back straight. It is good if you don't take back support from a chair or a wall. Try to keep your back straight without getting the support of anything. And close your eyes. And take a few deep breaths with the intention of relaxing the body and the mind, with the intention of starting the meditation today. Now focus on the air that is moving up and down through the nasal passage. Focus on the non-attached nature. Focus on the free nature, independent nature. Focus how the air is moving without creating any conflict with the environment. It is smooth and just aligns the causes without trying to change them. Try to see this quality of air and try to develop that quality in your mind so that you aligns with the environment. Even though there are sounds in the background, even though there are scales in the background, even though there's movement in the background or any other disturbance, let's try to be like air, which is not bothered, which is not having expectations. So it obeys the causes and effects without trying to change them, developing conflict in the process. Now let's focus on the great Buddha, which helps to deepen our samadhi, which in fact helps us to see the depth. Namo Arahang. 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 Namo Samma Sambuddho. 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 Namo Vicca Charana Sampanno. 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 Namo Vichacharana 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 Sampanno. Namo Sugato. 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 Namo Lokavidu.
Namo Khanti
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 Namo Lokavidu.
Namo
Namo Lokavidu. Namo Lokavidu. Namo Lokavidu. Namo Lokavidu. Namo Lokavidu. Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati.
Namo
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati.
Namo Purisa Dhammasarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati.
Namo Purisa Dhammasarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati.
Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati.
Namo
Purisa Dhamma Sarati Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Namo Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Namo Sattha Deva Manussanam 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 Namo Buddho. 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 Namo Bhagava. 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 Namo Bhagava
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Bhagava
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Bhagava
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Bhagava Namo Bhagava Namo Bhagava. Recite with me. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manussanam buddho bhagavati iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manussanam buddho bhagavati iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manussanam buddho bhagavati. Recite this comment with me. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My words are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. My actions are straight. My words are clean. My thoughts are pure. My view is crystal. Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe sankhara dukkati yada panyaya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe dhamma anattati yada panyaya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe sankhara dukkhati yada panyaya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe dhamma anattati yada paññāya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada paññāya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe sankhara dukkhati yada paññāya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe dhamma anattati yada paññāya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada paññāya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe sankhara dukkhati yada paññāya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe dhamma anattati yada paññāya passati atanibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Anicca vata sankhara Upadavaya dhammino Upajitva nirucchanti Tesang upasamo sukho Tesang upasamo sukho Tesang upasamo sukho Anicca vata sankhara Upadavaya dhammino Upajitva nirucchanti Tesang upasamo sukho Tesang upasamo sukho Tesang upasamo sukho Anicca vata sankhara Upadavaya dhammino Upajitva nirucchanti Tesang upasamo sukho Tesang upasamo sukho Tesang upasamo sukho Etang santang etang panitang Yadidang sabba sankhara samato Sabbupadi pati nissago Tanhakayo Virago Nirodho Nibbananti Etang santang etang panitang Yadidang sabba sankhara samato Sabbupatipatti nisaggo tanhakkayo virago nirodho nibbananti. Etang santang etang panitang yadidang sabbe sankhara samato Sabbupatipatti nisaggo tanhakkayo virago nirodho nibbananti. Tanhakkayo virago nirodho nibbananti. Tanhakkayo virago nirodho nibbananti. Now focus on the passaddhi, samadhi, and upekkha bhujangas. See the blissfulness of letting go, blissfulness of non-attachment, blissfulness of salvation. Take few deep breaths. To end the meditation, focus on your body, focus on the external surrounding, and gradually come out of the meditation by opening your eyes. Is anybody having any questions regarding meditation? Or else we can...
Yes, Bhante, I have a question.
Yeah.
Bhante, yes.
Bhante,
Bhante, you said that, I think in the beginning, you said that we need to focus on the emotion, and the emotion is more present in the second jhana. What do you mean by that, Bhante?
Yeah. So, there are 5 components in first jhana called Savitakka,
Yes.
Piti, Sukha, Ekaggata.
Yes.
And it goes like Vivichehi Kamehi, Vivicha Akusalehi Dhamme, Savitakka, Savicharam, Vivekajam, Piti Sukam, Patamajjana, Upapacha Viharati. Vitakka Vicharanam Upasam, Ajjatang Sampasadana, Chetaso Eko Dibhav. Advitakang avicharam samadhidam priti sukhan dutiya jhana upasampajya viharati. So in the first jhana, it is called as savitakka savichara, which is actually use of words to it's like a topic and a description. Let's say the topic is about meditation, and then we have a description about meditation. Meditation is a practice that is done to develop concentration. Likewise, we can write several sentences. So I am giving a comparison here. So Savitakka is like the topic. Savichara is like the description. So in our mind, anicca, the world is of anicca nature. All the things, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And also the external things, images, smells, tastes, touches, thoughts. All those components are of anicca nature. Now that is the vichara. Now we use vitakka vichara as people, when we are practicing our day-to-day things. I mean, even in our day-to-day life, we use vitakka vichara. But they become sa vitakka and sa vichara. That means we put a sa in front. Then we are talking about kusala mula paticcasamuppada. So we are talking about anicca dukkha anatta. Savitakka savichara. That is a characteristic of the first jhana. We are thinking using Dhamma. That is what Savitakka Savichara means. But of course, with the limitation, and we have the limitation of language or words. We use words. It's like we are thinking inside our head, using words, right? We use our own mother tongue.
Yes. Yes.
So when it becomes Avitakka Vichara, instead of using words, it happens. It's natural. When you progress in the pathway, you can't understand it. You have to experience it. You can understand, you can get a rough idea, but you will only understand it through, 100% through experience. So what happens? Actually, words become so heavy at some point, and you feel the emotion is more powerful than words. It's like when somebody is so sad, that person is crying. Let's say a closest loved one has died of a road accident or something. And now it was so sudden, the other person can't even create words. He can't even talk, and he can't even express his sorrow. So he just, because the emotion itself is too intense. So that happens gradually. Emotion takes over and words become powerless. Initially, words are powerful, emotion is less powerful. But this changes after some time and the emotion becomes more powerful. So you can use emotions to think after that. You don't have words, you don't use a language. It's just emotional thinking. So that is what avitakka vichara means. It happens because after some point, words become heavier. And use of words become actually a burden at that concentration level, at that samadhi level. So you just naturally drop it and focus on emotions. So that's what happens actually.
Oh, thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Okay, then since there are no other questions, is there any? Okay, so then we'll focus on the Anumodana. Today we discussed practical things about meditation, focusing on the anicca dukkha anatta, the causes and effects, of course, the core concepts of Buddha Dhamma, so that listening to it, contemplating on the things that we discussed actually creates immeasurable meritorious power. And then we had a short meditation session for 1 hour. We recited Buddha Guna. That itself is a great meritorious deed. Then we focused on the Sila Anusati and Vipassana, understanding the anicca dukkha anatta nature of this world. Finally, we focused on the blissfulness of Nibbana. Meritorious power, which we gathered throughout these 2 hours, are immeasurable. And with that meritorious power, all the hindrances, barriers, and obstacles everyone is having in completing your Arya pathways may get diminished. And the pathway to complete your Arya pathways with ease and comfort may arise. And may all of you attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Accept this blessing by reciting sadhu 3 times.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.
We are going to transfer this meritorious power to all the sentient beings in the universe, especially everyone who has been our past relations, misrelations of this life and previous lives, and also everyone who helped us throughout this sansaric journey, especially our parents, teachers, everyone who gave us jobs, colleagues in workplaces, and everyone who has been our past relations like spouses, children, brothers, sisters, relations, and also neighbors. Everyone who constructed the infrastructure that we use, our houses, lands, vehicles, roads, and other infrastructure that we are using. Because of them, we got a peaceful and a comfortable life. So they are actually, so let us take this opportunity to repay them for the help that they have done for us. Especially everyone who helped us to have this Dhamma discussion and meditation session without discomfort. Everyone who have sponsored for these devices that we are using. Everyone who are paying for the internet bills, electricity bills, and everyone who are maintaining these temples. Let us be grateful to them and let us remind them in this special occasion. Let us focus on everyone who were hurt and harmed by our unwholesome actions in the past. Let us acknowledge our faults, replace those unwholesome things with wholesome things, and let us take this opportunity to transfer this meritorious power to them as well as a compensation for all the unwholesome things that we might have done in the past. Let us focus on the realms of deities and on all the deities in 6 realms of gods, and also on the Brahma gods who are in the 20 Brahma planes. And of course, finally, let us focus on all the sentient beings in the universe. Let's take this opportunity to transfer this meritorious power to them with metta and kindness, irrespective of wherever they are, irrespective of their current state of being. Let us transfer this meritorious power to them. If they are in miserable places, may they refrain from doing sinful acts. May they replace those sinful acts with meritorious deeds, and may they lead happy lives, ultimately understanding the reality of the world, opening up the eyes of wisdom by listening to Dhamma through a Kalyana Mitta. And may they develop the great background which is full of life, comfort, power, skills, and wisdom. And in that background, may they complete their Arya journeys, ending their suffering sansaric journey attaining Nibbana. Let's transfer this meritorious power to them with metta and kindness by reciting sadhu 3 times.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So I'll be reciting this Pali stanza, wishing everyone life, long life, power, comfort, skills, and of course wisdom, being able to attain Nibbana. Abhivadana Siddhisa Nityam Uddhapajayano Chattaro Dhamma Vaddanti Ayuvanno Sukham Balam Ayurarogya Sampatti Sakka Sampatti Meva Chato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samichatu. May you attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, 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 sadhu.
Teruvan Saranai everyone.
Teruvan Saranai.
Bante.